Welcome to my day of release guide and loot video for the Tormented Demons, which are the new NPCs you get after completion of the Wild Guthix Sleeps quest. If you are having any difficulty or if you have yet to finish it, I have both a guide out for the entire quest now and for all of the boss fights. I'll link both of those down in the description below. Feel free to check them out if you haven't already. But when it comes to killing TDs, here is the gear I have currently been using. Basically a full bandos with a full Masori switch using the arc light and blowpipe. One of each divine potions, 4 prayer pots, and then the rest food with 1 stamina dose for just the trek to absolutely get there. And it is a requirement to have a sapphire lantern. And I'm on a greater demon task, so I will be using the Slayer helm. You can easily replace that with anything else. And it's important to note this isn't me saying this is the best gear setup to use. Realistically, it might look like full Ancestral with Shadow and full Masori with Tebow is best in slot, even potentially better than the Arclight. But if you couldn't already tell by the gear, I am a noob, therefore we will be killing them as so. But when it comes to getting to the Tormented Demon lair, it is identical to what it was in the quest. I just teleport to the house, use my jewelry box to go to Tears of Guthix. You climb these rocks and then use your sapphire lantern on one of the light creatures. And then select option 2 to travel into the chasm. And from here you just run straight back, climb the wall into the tunnel just like the quest. And then once you're here, there are actually a ton of different places you can kill the TDs. There are a couple spawns right here in the center circle. There is actually a spawn at the end of every single one of these each individual paths. And then if you head straight through where you did the final boss fight for the quest, there are probably 5 or 6 spawns out there in the big open area. It is important to note though, out in that open area, it is multi, so you can get stacked on if you aren't careful where you're standing. But now that you know where they're at, let's talk about how you get kills. Now when it comes to killing TDs, there is really only one very important mechanic to pay attention to, and it should happen in the next few seconds. There it is. He binds you and puts 2 dark shadows on the ground, and all you have to do is spam click one of the adjacent tiles that does not have a shadow on it. Otherwise, the base mechanics of TDs are similar to what they used to be back in the day. They can attack with mage, range, and melee. That little red fireball is the magic attack. After you do a certain percentage of damage, he'll switch prayers and you just have to switch combat styles. And then after a brief period of time, roughly about now is when you're going to start looking out for the special attack. There it is, spam away, and he switched prayers. This little missile / dust looking attack is the range attack. And lastly, his melee attack is very easy to tell because he puts a big swipe across your face. And then the last thing to note, when it comes to him actually switching which combat style he attacks with, it'll only ever happen after he does that special. He won't just randomly interchange or after a set specific number of attacks. It'll always be right after one of those special attacks. Right there, he switched to melee, and I got swacked at 28. One mechanic you can take advantage of is similar to Demonic Gorillas, where right after the special, when you know he's going to switch attack styles, you can run away to know if he starts trailing you, he's going to be using melee, as opposed to if he stays still, you have the 50-50 chance of mage or range. See, he followed me right there, so I know he's going to be melee. And you get the big swipe animation, very easy to tell for that one. Overall, these things are incredibly tanky, and the mechanics are in no way difficult, it's just don't get lulled to sleep and get stuck in one of these specials. They do hit incredibly hard off prayer, so if you get in the blender a bit, you can take some serious damage very quickly. Otherwise, those are the basics and all you really need to know to take down Tormented Demons. They are incredibly busy right now, so it is very difficult to find a world. As you can see, just in the span of the 3 minutes I've been recording this, there's probably been 5 people that's hopped in this area. But now that you know how to get here and what to expect, let's talk about some loot you could potentially receive. Now, when it comes to loot from Tormented Demons, if you couldn't already tell by my inventory, how much money you make is going to be entirely dependent on whether you get lucky and pull a unique. The two uniques you're really trying to get are the Bone Claws or the Tormented Synapse, both of which, as of recording this video, are currently going for between 30 and 40 mil. The grand total from 50 kills was 385k, a majority of that, basically exactly half of it, coming from the 50 Infernal Ashes I did pick up. I probably used at least roughly 400k, maybe even more in supplies in these 50 kills. Now, fortunately enough for me, I was able to pull one of the Tormented Synapses on like my 27th kill only a few hours after release, and I did get it to sell for exactly 44 mil. But outside of getting lucky or just killing these for a long period of time, you can expect to basically just break even off the everyday basic drops. At this point, we've had plenty of content that just pumps raw materials and GP into the game. This style of drop should honestly help the long-term health of this being a decent moneymaker. Over time, it'll really start to thin out because people aren't going to want to commit that much time to just getting basically no drops if you aren't getting lucky. But that is my day one quick guide for how to kill TDs and what loot you can expect. If you guys did enjoy or found it helpful, consider dropping a like. It massively helps me out. Otherwise, I hope you guys had a great day of release, and I will catch you in the next video.